We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. It's education and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. It's September the 29th, 2021, and we are live, and we are coming to you live from paceradio.net. I'm Al Graham, and my joint host, Kim Cooper, is here, and she is a guest who is a business owner and who is here to talk about cannabis and working with patients and her own experience. But before we learn more, it's always time, as always, quick news chat and whatever comes up in the first 10 minutes. Right, Kim?
Absolutely. We got a great news story to talk about today for
Yes.
sure, and I'm really excited about today's guest as well. I had the opportunity to spend the weekend with this dynamic lady, and we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, we got some weekend stories coming up, I can tell. All right, but as far as the news end of things, we've got one here from Mugglehead Magazine, and the headline on it says that most American stoners would smoke cannabis with their grandparents. That's according to what a survey says. What do you think about that? Yeah. Being that you and I are grandparents now.
We had this discussion pre-show, and my first impulse, of course, was to go to, I'd smoke weed with my granny if she was still around, and then you brought it to my attention that, hey, we're the grandparents now.
Yeah.
And that is so true.
True,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm a small handful of years away from my oldest grandchild being at the point where she'll come to me to smoke some pot.
Yeah,
So, that's us.
Yeah, mine's well past that halfway age to being legal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's us. And I mean, I would certainly smoke a doobie with my grandchild.
Yeah. Once they're older, yes. I always think grandchild is
absolutely.
somebody really. I always think of somebody. I always think of somebody really young, but yeah, exactly. We're. Yeah.
No, of legal age grandchild, let's be clear. Yeah, absolutely. According to this Mugglehead News Magazine article, a survey digging into America's cannabis habits amid legalization efforts has answered one burning question. Do people want to light up with their grandparents? Well, it turns out about 60% of pot smokers south of the border say, they would.
Yeah, exactly. 60% would smoke with grandma or grandpa, which is that's cool. They say that overall 58% of Americans believe that cannabis is the future for pain relief as well. They got other questions in this survey by the looks of it.
Yeah, it seems to be a quite in-depth survey. About 64% of cannabis users say they consume it for relaxation. 43% use it for sleep, 40% for pain management, 39% recreational responders, 37% they used it for health and wellness.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
mean, it's a 50 split, and I bet you when you dive into those recreational users, you find a medicinal use.
Oh, I bet you. Yeah, I agree. There'd be something there where someone didn't realize that. Hey, I am using it for medicinal, and them not even realizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that was cute. 60% would smoke with grandma, grandpa. Yeah.
Grandma, and I am a grandma, so I'd love to smoke with my grandchildren someday for sure.
Yeah, and they say 70% of Americans know the difference between THC and CBD. Talking about microdosing it as well.
Yeah. So they're not heavily into the CBD as what advertisers would like us to think. It's not everybody looking for CBD. They don't see a difference between the two, so there is no reason to be segregating them and regulating one way and one another.
Yeah. 30% preferred chocolate over any type of edible. We'll be able to talk about that tonight at some point too. Let's see.
Yeah, we're going to really get into edibles for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to keep this page open for afterwards. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite the lengthy article. It's a pretty cool read. At the bottom of it, it says, in Canada, a recent survey came to the opposite conclusion, finding that Canadians' appetite for cannabis consumables was dwindling. The opposite conclusion, but that's for edibles, they say, according to this particular survey. But I don't think that that's true.
Yeah, well, I was surprised by that, actually. Wonder why. Maybe they're just not liking what they're finding maybe they don't like what they're finding in the legal market yet.
In the legal market, yeah, because there's definitely an upswing in the legacy market for consumable products. I know that firsthand. So I'm not sure what that's in reference to or what Canadians they spoke to.
And we report on the Reefer Reporters. There's so many different stats and stuff, so it's all a bit of a blur to know how the number of that what we've been able to report on in the past. Because I know at one time they were looking for it to be an explosion, but it didn't create that spike. But I don't know.
Yeah. Legal market, though, they're capped at 10.
Yeah,
so 10 milligrams per serving in legal market, which is restrictive, and that's why we're not seeing the boom here. So I would think these numbers from this survey are reflecting Canadians' appetite for legal products on the legal market at the 10 milligram cap. I can see those not moving.
Yeah. Well, I know that Reverend Kelly and myself, we reported recently on a group or like an organization that lobbies the government on different things, that on the cannabis end of things, that there are people who are working to increase those limits, those 10 milligram limits, and make things different. Instead of you can't go buy a 6-pack of beverages at the cannabis store because it's just your milligramage. I don't know, like, what do you want to do? Drink 1.75 mil?
Yeah, how much pop do you want to drink, right? Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure our guest is going to have a lot to say.
Yeah, that's right. Let's bring our guest in, because we're talking edibles and stuff, and we're going to get into that tonight. So let's bring our guest in on this. So this time I'd like to welcome the person that said is a business owner. Here's to talk about cannabis, working with patients, and so much and so forth. We'd like to welcome Tarra Simpson of Momma Medibles to the Pace Radio Show. Welcome, Tarra. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Doing all right. Looking forward to chatting with you tonight, my dear.
Of course. We got so much to talk about.
Yes. Well, welcome to the broadcast.
What was that?
Welcome to the broadcast, and we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us and our listeners tonight throughout the program. And like Kim, I look forward to the conversation as well.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, I'm going to throw you over to Kim. I'm going to let her get started and fire off some questions. And as always, I'll just follow in along the way.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Al. Really appreciate that. Tarra Simpson, Momma Medibles. I've tried your products in the past. But there's a lot of edibles companies out there, and I try a lot of different products and try and rate them and so forth. And a lot of times stuff gets caught up in the mix, and I fail to do follow-ups. And that's something that happened with me with the first set of Momma Medibles that I received some time ago. Recently, of course, we got together, and I tried some more of your products. and you were also entered into a cup event, an elite cup event that is held here in Canada every year, and you did very well in that. And I gotta say, I'm kicking my ass for not paying more attention when I tried your edibles the first time, because oh my God, they are off the hook.
Thanks so much, Kim. I did enter the Karma Cup, and I did place 6th in the edible competition, which is absolutely fantastic for first-time entry. I'm blown away that I placed that out of 22 entries. That's amazing. I wanted a 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, but there's next year.
Like you say,
absolutely.
Nothing wrong with 6th place. Nothing wrong with that either.
Nothing wrong with 6th place. I mean, there was 120 odd entries, in and around 120 entries this year. To come in 6th out of over 100 entries, that's pretty freaking amazing.
Yes. Well, there was, I believe, 22 or 23 edibles.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
23 in the edibles category, overall, and that's where you took 6th place, was in that category. 6th out of 23, pretty freaking good.
Still good, exactly. You know, for like you say, first time you've been in a competition, and that to me would be encouraging to keep wanting to do that, knowing how close you were.
Unbelievably close. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. And the products are fantastic that you create. I want to get started by getting you to give us a little bit of background on Tarra. Who is Tarra Simpson? What got you into creating these marvelous products to begin with? I know you're a patient, so give us a little bit of history on how you got to where you are today.
Okay, so years and years ago, I worked in healthcare, pharmacy in particular. I'm a fibromyalgia and chronic pain sufferer. That's just a mild synopsis of what goes on with my body. I went through pain management for many years, going to specialists, going for alternative therapies, medication after medication, to the point that I became over-medicated. I had smoked cannabis when I was a teenager because it was fun, right? That's what we all kind of experimented with back then. But in my later years had given that up. I was raising kids. I was a mom. I, was on the PTA. I did, midnight bingos, fundraisers, you name it. I kept myself very busy. And at that time, cannabis wasn't really a thing, right? It was frowned upon, especially by a lot of the parents I associated with. So I wasn't a cannabis user. I drank quite a bit, but not a cannabis user. And then years later, turned to cannabis when pain management failed. 29 medications all at the same time, handfuls of pills, morning, noon, and night. I still was in pain, still not functioning the way I do today. Cannabis gave me my life back. And then years later, I decided enough with the pills, enough with dispensing this sort of nonsense to people. And I started helping patients like me. I was fortunate enough to know somebody in the industry already who got me kind of started working for them. So a lot of my knowledge came firsthand from their training. And then, of course, my own research and development later on. So I've been doing this since about 2012, helping patients find the right medications, whether it's a product of mine or a product of somebody else's. There is help out there for them. And with the network of people that I have in the cannabis industry, I've been able to help a lot of patients that way.
Absolutely. So, patients helping patients, once again, it's, a patient that had a need for yourself. And, once you find, we've seen this so often with so many interviews of patients in and outside of industry, once you find out what cannabis can do for you and gives you your life back, there's an overwhelming need to share that with everybody you know.
Exactly. Because a lot of people don't know, or they're too embarrassed to ask their doctor because their doctor is one of those pencil pushing, pill popping, here, take this, go home, and if you have side effects, come back and I'll give you something else. But heaven forbid we look at something natural that actually is helping patients. And a lot of it too is stigma. Yep. A lot of patients are surrounded by that stigma because of the way cannabis has been perceived for many, many years as a drug, a gateway drug at that, right? It's actually an exit drug for so many more patients, not necessarily pain patients in general, but people who are on opioids have used cannabis to successfully treat their addictions. So there's so much there, but doctors have been so battered down by the college not to prescribe. And a lot of them don't believe they should prescribe without having some sort of like guideline. But cannabis is a very safe drug. So in that sense, prescribing it, a patient is never going to overdose. So what are they worried about, right?
Yep, exactly.
The liability is so much less than them prescribing OxyContin or fentanyl, but yet they're hesitant to prescribe. So hearing a lot of those stories, a lot of patients are leery to even reach out to their doctor, or have, and their doctor has shot them down. But it's growing. Awareness is growing. There are more doctors that are prescribing now. My own doctor won't prescribe. Not my family MD, but she knows that I won't take a prescription for anything. So I have a medical prescription through another doctor who is cannabis friendly. And my doctor really is just for paperwork.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically the clinics. How many people go back? Well, I know like there's some clinics that require the patients required to go back every 3 months. But how many clinics actually end up being, those people end up being the regular doctors? From my understanding, most of them are they're there through cannabis doctors.
Yeah.
Because regular or most doctors don't know anything about cannabis, and they deal with the cannabis end of things. So it's not like as if
that kind of pisses me off. That really does kind of piss me off. I mean, it's a doctor's responsibility to keep up to date with their education. And cannabis has been a legally prescribed medication in this country for 20 years. So why don't they know about cannabis?
Yeah, I know, eh?
Yeah,
I
so
think
that really pisses me off when they say I don't know about it. But that's where we are. There's no money in it. So, but you're my doctor, taking care of my health, but you're concerned about where the money is. How does that give me confidence in you taking care of my health?
They have drug reps. They have drug reps that come to their offices and say, this medication really works for chronic pain. Prescribe it to your patients, and they get kickbacks and incentives to do so.
Oh yeah, they get trips and money.
Yeah. Right, and I know that
they get trips and money and everything else.
Yeah, I worked in healthcare for years. I was a personal support worker for about 10 years. So I know how healthcare funding kind of works. I know what I saw working in nursing care, and I also know what I saw working in pharmacy, and I know what I heard from the pharmacists about kickbacks and so on and so forth. So it's very frustrating because they know cannabis works. They know cannabis is better for us, but they'd rather prescribe that pill that may send us over the edge one day, right? I couldn't even swallow my own saliva at one point without choking to death 10 times, 15, 20 times a day because I was so over-medicated on pharmaceutical medications.
It's never good.
Your reflexes in your throat go. I mean, everything starts to go. Your stomach gives out on you and rots away. The side effects are tremendous.
Absolutely. And the funniest thing is I wasn't going to them and saying, give me a prescription. I need something. What I was saying to them was, this is what's going on with me. This medication isn't working. Can we try something else? Is there something that we can do? Is there an alternative therapy? I didn't want medications. I wanted a diagnosis, because they were writing me prescriptions for an illness they hadn't even told me what I was suffering from.
Well, how do you get a prescription for something that's undiagnosed? That
Right.
doesn't make any sense from our doctors.
No, and this was a pain specialist.
Great.
Pain specialist, yes. So in the end, about 3 prescriptions in, I was like, okay, doc, like, what gives? Because I'm telling you what my symptoms are, but what am I suffering from? Like, what is my actual condition? Because I need to research that. Is it arthritis? Is it fibromyalgia? Is it a condition that my aunt has, which is also very severe, and it's a chronic pain condition. It's reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is also a chronic regional pain syndrome. She suffered for many years prior to even me being diagnosed with my conditions, with fighting for advocacy for patients and pain patients in particular. So they were like, well, what does it matter? And I said, it matters to me because I need to know how to treat myself, right? You can't just keep giving me medications and not tell me what's wrong with me, because I feel like I'm crazy here at this point.
They give it to you and say, let me know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
what are we treating?
Yeah,
Right.
we don't know what we're treating. Just let me know how it works. Yeah.
So finally,
you're in pain? Well, here's some pain pills.
Right. Yeah. And they started pretty mild. They started with, some Sesamet, which is Neabolone, which is synthetic THC. Let me tell you, it doesn't compare to the real thing at all. And I was on that for years. They started with, so that's not really a narcotic, but it's a narcotic according to the pharmacy. Then they started with, Lyrica and gabapentin, which, by the way, are the same drugs, just different forms of it, and are not supposed to be prescribed together. They had me on that in high doses. Then, it was the nortriptyline and the baclofen, and then of course with all the heartburn and stuff that was happening, here's something for that. Then of course having muscle spasms and twitches that were like insane. So, here's some Mirapex. That happens to be a drug for Parkinson's. So why are we treating fibromyalgia, arthritis, and degenerative disc disease and autonomic dysfunction with these medications?
Well, they're combating side effects from the medications they think will help your pain. And that's all they're doing is masking the pain. They're not doing anything for even diagnosing you at this point. They're just like, here, have some masking agents.
Yep. So I started demanding tests. And, of course, taking a stand, I told him, you can take that prescription for those narcotics right there, because OxyContin was one of the first ones they were openly ready to prescribe me. And I looked at them and I said, you realize I work in pharmacy. Like, I know what these drugs do to people. I know how they work in people's systems. This isn't, we go from you're on Advil and Sesamet to now you're taking OxyContin. That to me didn't sit right. That didn't sit right at all. Yeah. And after that, I became even more skeptical. And thank God for my brothers. My younger brothers, I kind of got them into weed when they were young, because I was a rebellious teenager, and, how better to silence your younger brothers than to include them in your shenanigans, right? So at that time, they continued on, and I had quit using cannabis, and they were the ones that were saying to me, stop taking these pills. Like, this stuff's going to kill you. You're not getting any better. Smoke some weed. And I kept laughing at them, right? Like, you guys are a bunch of stoners. What do you know? Well, let me tell you, it saved my life. They saved my life.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. because in the end, I was taking handfuls of pills morning, noon, and night, still being in pain, still wanting to like literally kill myself. And it came down to calling him and saying, hey, I need you to come see me tonight and bring me some weed. And if he hadn't come, I don't think I would have been here the next day. I honestly don't believe I would have been. It saved my life. And from then on, I was like, you know what, doc? I don't think I need that prescription. Let's not do this anymore.
Right.
And slowly I have weaned off of medications over the last 5 years, 6 years. And now
it takes still a long time, right?
It does. It absolutely does. It was absolutely insane to know that even on 10 milligrams of nortriptyline, I could not get off that dose. I couldn't do it. No matter how much I would go days and days and go through the withdrawals and the shocks. And this is an antidepressant, by the way. And that 10 milligrams shouldn't be that habit forming to your body, you wouldn't think. But it is. I get what pill sickness is about.
But it is.
Absolutely brutal. And I did get off of it. Not just with cannabis, though.
We're going to get into that in a little bit. But you know, your story is very familiar, Tarra, and so many of us that got caught up and drawn into that pharmaceutical train from our doctors. You know, you go to the doctor, and for me, at the beginning, it was like, well, it's the doctor. He's got to know what he's doing. Well, they know what they're doing. It's the doctor. Until finally you're in zombie land for, however long before one day you finally wake up and you'll have a clarity moment. And that's when during that clarity moment, it brings on like a nervous breakdown because you have this grand realization of what the fuck has been going on for the last X number of years.
You know, Kim,
I
think that's actually what happened that night. And I can remember laying in my bed and being so depressed and in tears and in pain and calling my brother. And I think that was my moment of clarity, because I think I just at that moment was like, I realized, what the hell am I doing? Like, all these medications and I still feel like this. Something needs to give. I just kind of woke up to, hey, you know what? Screw this doctor. Because I had to sign forms as a patient that I would not take prescriptions from other doctors. I would not take illegal substances, including cannabis. And because cannabis wasn't legal at that time. And you know what the worst part of this whole thing is, Kim, is this particular doctor actually signed medical cannabis licenses. I found out a year and a half into treatment with him that he was actually open to it. And only because I went to him and said, up yours, doc. When you do your urine test on me, you're going to find cannabis, because this is what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, and we're going to have a talk. And that's when he kind of, slowly started being okay with it, right? Because he knew I had caught him. Part of the thing was with him too, is you had to fill prescriptions at the pharmacy in his building. By the way, his wife owned that pharmacy.
That's why you had to fill them there. I mean, this is a racket. It's a plain and simple money mill.
Yeah, and that is actually illegal for them to do, which I knew as a pharmacy tech, and I put him in his place right off the hop on that. I was like, I don't think so, because I could fill them at my work and not pay a dispensing fee, right? I'm not going to pay your wife's bills when I can fill them at my pharmacy and save money, right? Like, no.
Yeah.
But that's seems to be a very common theme with pain management in Canada right now, because it is about the money. It's about money, and they're not making money on cannabis. So why would they prescribe it? Why would they endorse it?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I went through a very similar experience. I had my awakening moment where, I was just sitting on the couch one day, and I don't know, it's for a moment in my haze, I woke up. I woke up and I kind of, I remember it clearly, and so much of those days are truly a fog. But I remember it clearly. I sat straight up on the couch and I kind of looked around, and I remember feeling bewildered, and I was kind of looking around like, how the fuck did I get here? And I looked at Steve, and that's exactly what I said. How the fuck did I get here? Like, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years, and I'm sitting in the same place that I was 10 years ago. What the hell is going on? And it's a moment of clarity, but thank God for it.
Exactly. We wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. And from that moment on, those papers that we had to sign for the drugs, you won't take drugs from anywhere else, you won't use illicit drugs, blah, 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 blah. Cannabis was on the list at my doctor's office as well. And as soon as I went to another doctor and I got my cannabis prescription and I started weaning. And that list that I had to sign to get my fentanyl that I was decreasing slowly, I crossed cannabis out. I drew a line through it and then I signed it.
See? Yeah.
Did you get any flack for that one?
She looked at me and she said, well, why? And I said, because I've got my legal cannabis prescription, using it to get off of all the rest of these meds. That's why.
Yep.
Oh, you can't do that. Well, ladies, it's break time.
I said to my family doctor, too, because when my pain specialist left and went to the States, I, of course, was left with my family doctor, who was no better than the pain specialist, only she didn't know what to do for me. So I just said to her, you know what, send me to someone you think can wean me off of this stuff. And thankfully found me a pain management doctor who at first looked at my list and was like, well, I don't know why you're here. You're already medicated. And I was like, I am here to get off of this stuff. Like, you need to tell me where we need to start. And she at that time knew I was medical cannabis. She was pro-medical cannabis. And that's where the journey began there. And now I don't even...
Well, we're going to get into that and more. Let's get into all of that and so much more. We'll continue with Tarra after the break. I know Al's trying to bust in there and play some commercials and pay some bills.
Sounds like a good idea, ladies. All right, off we go. Okay. Pay those bills. When we return, Kim and I will continue our discussion or our talk with Tarra Simpson of Momma T Medibles. This is Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Are you interested in Canadian and international cannabis news? If you are, then catch myself, Kim Cooper, and Al Graham for our live reefer report on the Pace Radio Network, found at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Once again, People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Check them out.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, hello, and we're back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net. If you miss our live shows, don't forget, you can always catch the podcast afterwards at paceradioshow.com. Tonight on the program, we're joined by our guest, Tarra Simpson from Momma T's Medibles, plus a joint host, Kim Cooper of No Sir. Well, ladies, I know that we had a really interesting conversation going on before break, and Kim put a halt to that, and we're just going to continue right where we left off, right, Kim?
Yeah, let's pick it up where we left off. I mean, Tara's story is amazing, yet very so familiar to myself personally, as well as so many other patient advocates that we've had on the show over the years. We've all traveled similar paths that have fallen prey to the pharmaceutical pit from hell, and come out the other side of this, as you did, Tara. You finally put your foot down. You had your awakening moment, and your brother come by and helped you out, and you got some education and learned about cannabis a little bit more intensely, and you ditched the pharma.
I sure did. I took a stand and eventually decided meds were they had to go. Little by little, if it killed me, I would get off these meds, and I've got 2 left to go, but I will get there. It will happen. It may take a while, but I will get there. So once I put this doctor in his place and got rid of him and went through pain management, at that time I was no longer working in pharmacy. At that time I was now branching into helping patients. So I was helping patients through another company that I kind of was working for. Like they had me making the goodies that needed to be made. They trained me and gave me the knowledge and tools to do that. And it was going to their patients. And eventually I branched out on my own and created Momma T's. Momma T's stands
and great products.
For a lot.
Great products at Momma T's, man. Holy shit.
So everyone in my neighborhood called me Momma T because I was the neighborhood mom. I had my 2 kids at home. I had raised 4 others when I was married, so I had 6 kids in the house. So I was Momma T to everyone, including all the neighborhood kids, because they all swam in my pool in the summer. They all came to my house if they needed help. I always had a toy box out front of my house, even though my kids were grown, for all the neighborhood kids that didn't have a whole lot. So they would come and, pilfer the toys out of the toy box and go play in the neighborhood rather than climb on people's cars or create havoc. So this was just kind of my little way of giving back to the community. Right. So everyone called me Momma T. And I was also Momma T to a lot of the neighborhood moms. Who were all in the same boat, right? They stressed out, needing help with sleep or pain or just, mental health outreach. And a lot of them were cannabis consumers. And they, of course, were shameful of it. And I said to them, like, don't be shameful. Like this is medicine, right? And at that time started, giving them edibles and, here, try this and tell me what you think, because it was research and development for me. And I wanted to see where their tolerance was. So I had neighborhood testers and friends and family that would test different products out. And that's kind of how I've built my product line for my patients. Not that I don't do custom orders, which I do. If patients need something specific, they're looking for, a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 tincture or, anything like that, I can customize pretty much anything I make to suit a patient's needs. So knowing where they're, like, what they're using it for kind of helps me. I have patients that are of just of age, like 19, 20, that are using CBD for sleep or for their anxiety. I have patients in their 80s that are using my topicals because it's the only thing that helps their pain. So I have patients that are eating edibles even at that age and in low doses, but it's helping them to not need to take all those pharmaceuticals their doctors have been pushing on them that don't help them. So there's a lot of reasons.
Senior set, I mean, that's the target. That's the target for the doctors now. The seniors, I mean, we covered studies on reefer in the past, where, it's like 80 to 90% of senior citizens are on 6 or more medications from their doctor. And most of them, when you read off the list, I mean, they're not like life-saving meds. We're not talking insulin and heart medicine here. It's like, prescription stuff that is like, why is an 80-year-old taking that?
Right. Yeah. They have them on pain meds, sleep meds, antidepressants, and anti-anxieties.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the standard cocktail. I used to dispense it every single day in the pharmacy. Temazepam, clonazepam, some oxy or morphine. Some of them were morphine. Some of them were on, a few other, the hydromorphones and stuff. But there was always, some Zopiclone in there. That's a sleep medication. There were so many, it was like
Seroquel.
Yeah, it was like the same day in, day out, right? Same fast-moving medications on the shelf. It's actually pretty sad that that's the standard treatment that we're giving our seniors when we could be giving them quality of life instead.
Plant-based medicine, no side effects, not harmful to the body. It's not going to rot your gut. It's not going to kill your liver. Your kidneys aren't going to stop functioning. Your heart will be fine. I mean,
because you don't have to necessarily smoke it either, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody just assumes that they're smoking it, but
yeah.
Like at the beginning of the show, we talked about
how the bottom of the list.
At the beginning of the show, we talked about how they're saying in Canada that the edible market was going downhill, but Tamara, through what you're doing. Are you finding that? Because a lot of people don't want to start smoking when they're 70 years of age.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So I have a group of patients that are in kind of a seniors community, and they happen to be patients of mine, and none of them are smokers. They're not going to spark up a joint or light up a bong. A lot of them don't even really like the smell of cannabis. And that could be just age. That could be just they don't like it, right? Some people just don't like the smell, I guess. I personally love it, but not everybody does. But they're using edibles or topicals for their pain, whether it's a bath soak or a pain balm or a CBD rub or a tincture or some gummies, and some of them aren't even just doing it for their pain. Some of them actually enjoy the relaxation of it, just sitting around the campfire at night up there with a few friends over a few drinks. So they'll have a couple of gummies and enjoy their evening. So there's a whole wide variety of people using it for different reasons, and they don't even have to smoke it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Edibles and topicals, to me, when we were covering that article, I can understand the numbers saying they're on the decline if you're purchasing from the legal market. But if you talk to anybody using the legacy markets and patients helping patients markets, the numbers are definitely on the incline, not decline.
Oh, 100%. So I personally had never been in an OCS store up until about 4 or 5 months ago. I caved and went to the one down the street out of sheer boredom. And I had a little bit of extra money, and I thought, well, I'll go down and see what they have, and I'll try a couple of garbage products and rate them just for shits and giggles.
Right.
So I did. I went down the street to Smokeology is just down the way from me, and they're I think it's Adore Cannabis or something. I don't know. And I did. I purchased some pre-rolls there, and they weren't bad. I wouldn't say they were awful. I've had worse. The second batch I purchased were even worse, but it was a different brand from there because I thought, well, I'll try my luck twice, right? Maybe they'll be all right. No. Hit and miss, and I wanted to see what they had for edibles. And in there, they had edibles, but again, 10 milligrams per package. Right. So as a pain patient, I can tell you, and I'm not even a heavy edible user for like dosage for my pain. I think, like 100 milligrams is a good evening dose for me. I probably wouldn't go out and drive on 100 milligrams. You know what I mean? I'd probably be laying in my bed watching a movie. But that's a good nighttime dose for me. But a micro dose, 10 milligrams, okay, cool. But I'm not going to pay $10 or more plus tax for a 10 milligram edible at OCS. That is,
and you take 100 at night, so there's 10 packages. That's $100 a day, more,
right?
For your nighttime meds
for one night.
Yeah,
for one night.
For one night.
$700 a week.
Right.
Oh, more because it's like 110 or something. So you're pushing $1,000 a week.
Right. How do patients afford that?
Oh, you can't. You can't. There's that $1,000 that uses up their almost for a lot of them their income.
Wexactly.
Yep.
And that's just
income. More than income.
Yeah. That's not CBD. Yeah. That's not the whatever other products they may need as well, right? We're just talking on an average 100 milligrams per patient, right?
And as patient, and I've talked to a lot of them that they were 800, they were 1,000 milligrams a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's just 100 milligrams is a low dose for a bedtime dose. I mean,
imagine drinking
is fairly substantially higher.
Imagine drinking 100 beverages a day, or a combination of 100 beverages and edibles. Oh,
right.
Oh, imagine all the other health issues you would have. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, exactly. Like, you couldn't consume that much and not end up diabetic or sick all the time because you're consuming just way too much. You know what I mean?
No, they got to change that. They got to come up with a medical edible,
and that's the ticket right there.
Yeah,
is coming up with a medical system. That is absolutely the ticket. We only have rec here that's legal now. Medical, of course, legal here in Canada for 20 years. Doctors being allowed to prescribe cannabis. That's how we got legalization for recreational use. But the focus is on supplying products to the recreational consumer while nothing is happening on the medical end. So patients are expected to be able to go to the rec store to buy these products. But as we just broke down, if your prescription is like for 100 milligrams at a bedtime dose, how do you fill that either in a store or even going, I mean, the suppliers, it's the same thing as a patient. If I go online, I can't get anything stronger.
Can you even legally carry that?
If you're a medical patient through an LP, the only edibles you have access to as a patient are their oils. So they're tinctures, essentially. So they've taken cannabis, they've infused it into MCT oil, and they're selling bottles of that to patients, and it's watered down garbage. It isn't what patients need, and patients don't want to take it because it tastes like crap. That's feedback. It tastes yucky. It tastes like weed and coconut oil, basically. And they don't want that. And for them to use that in an edible, by the time they put it into something, it's so low dose. Again, they're having to eat way too much of it to incorporate it into a recipe. And I know firsthand because I actually taught a class doing this for Aphria, using their product. I had to teach patients at this seminar how to incorporate Aphria's oil into these two recipes. And believe me, it was not easy. And again, the edibles were so low dose that patients pretty much have to use the whole bottle to make the whole batch and eat the whole batch if they need a high dose. So what's the point?
Yeah.
And now you've got
exactly
having to play chemist in their kitchen. And that's, again, they have to have the affordability and the supplies to, be able to accurately dose. And that's not what they're supposed to be getting either. They should be getting quality products at a reasonable, affordable price.
And in comes Momma Teas.
Yes.
Profit, 100%.
And it comes, yeah. I'm sitting here with in my hand right now, as I speak to you. I have a jar in my hand. You know what I have. I have Momma Teas Medibles Bath Soak. This stuff is freaking awesome. I fell in love with this product at the Airbnb. And I was a little bit apprehensive because I thought, oh my God, what if I only love it because I had it in a whirlpool tub in the Airbnb? But I brought it home and I've had it in a non-whirlpool tub and it's just as amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really a nice bath soak. It's not overwhelming in smell. It's not heavy perfumed, which is really, really nice because a lot of them are too strong for me. And smell-wise, I have very sensitive smell receptors, and I really like this one. And, easy dosing because it's a crystal. So if you want a heavy dose bath, you can do that as opposed to one of the bath bombs that come pre-made. They're either 25 or they're 100. So you're either getting a heavy bath or maybe not quite enough, right? This one you can dose yourself.
Exactly. And I try to, with those products, because I test my products on me and I test them on other pain patients before I've even released them. So that was tested for many, 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 many people before it actually hit market. And we found that about 50 to 75 milligrams of THC in a bath is more than sufficient. Anything more than that, and it's floating around in the tub. You're not absorbing that.
That's correct.
You're never going to absorb it.
It's going down the drain.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going down the drain.
So, and being that a lot of people don't like, a whole lot of product in their tub, I dosed it for a quarter cup is, I think, 65 milligrams. I don't have the package right in front of me right now. So that's not bad. That gives you, if you want a lighter tub, you can use a quarter of that quarter cup and then throw your own Epsom salts in there if that's, if you want more Epsom-y to it, or you can have a heavier soak. You could use the whole thing if you really want. My neighbor Carl, he's a trip, I tell you. His wife is a massage therapist, and he's very physical. He's always cycling. He joined a cycling club this year, and it nearly killed him. So So he loves my salts and how to soak in them. And he decided to use the whole package and then wondered why his whole body was like,
wow. Jello. Yeah, you would be Jello.
Yeah, that's right.
I know personally, I like it around the 50 milligram mark is really good for me. I used to buy bombs that were 25s, and 2 of them would do the trick for me. So this one, on this particular product, I used just shy of the 1/4 cup, and I got myself a little scoop that I keep beside the jar. And it's like, okay, this is what I need, right? And it sits me around 50 milligrams. And I really like the fact that this product also contains CBD. So for the same amount of soak in your 1/4 cup, you're getting just over 30 milligrams of CBD added benefits to, as well as the THC.
Exactly. And CBD and THC work in synergy together, right? So
yes.
you get the THC at the higher dose, because that tends to be, I find for my own pain, THC more effective than CBD. I think CBD is more for like a lighter inflammation problem than what I deal with every day.
I need the THC in there for sure.
Yeah, you need the THC. It's the heavy hitter for me. That's what really does it for me. So I try to do kind of like, it's almost like a 2-to-1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I find the combination extremely effective. The ones I've tried, the CBD alone bombs and, the THC alone bombs. And I didn't find the CBD ones helpful at all. They didn't relax me. Very limited pain relief. You add in with just the THC, very relaxing. I'm going to bed, like you say. I'm Jello at the end of it. And I find with yours having the combo, I've got the same amount of pain relief that I got from just the THC, and the same amount of relaxation. But I'm not quite so Jello, and I like that because sometimes I can't make it to my bed. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to fall over. But I like this. I can get out of my bath and I can finish my tea and I'm relaxed enough to go to bed. But I can finish my tea and I can turn the lights off in the house.
Right. Yeah. Because as much as we want to feel like Jello, we want to be able to make it from the tub to the bed without falling, right?
Exactly. Sometimes heavy hitters. Yeah, the heavy hitting THC. I mean, sometimes I get out of that tub if I've soaked too long, and my bloody legs are like 2 spaghetti noodles. And I'm trying to walk.
That was my neighbor Carl. Next time he'll listen to me and stick a 1/4 cup.
So yeah, I really like this combination. I find it really works well. So I rave about this particular product. I want to talk a little bit about the other product that you won the Karma Cup with, 6th place with in Karma. Tell us a little bit more about that. That was so friggin' good. And when I first seen it, I didn't know it was yours at that time. And when I first seen it, I thought, oh, who entered this? This is so like 1990s. But, oh my God.
It is.
But when I ate it, right, but when I ate it, it was like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, it's very much a retro snack. Like, I grew up on, like, Chex Mix and stuff like that. I can remember going to, like, family functions and there being, like, a bowl of Chex Mix of some kind that a family member had made.
Okay, okay, hang on here, ladies. Okay, hang on here for a second. Yep. Because we're on radio, I'm hearing some Chex Mix and stuff like that. You got to give us a description so we can picture what this item is.
Okay,
all right. It's like nuts and bolts or a Chex Mix that had like all of the little tidbits in there with spice on them, and they were infused.
Yeah, so it's like a mix of cereal.
Yeah.
You got some Shreddies, some Chex Bits, some, like Cheerio type bits.
Fruit
You've got
Loops.
some pretzels. No Fruit Loops. But Cheerios, cheesy,
Cheerios.
and like goldfishy crackers, and so a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it comes in 3 flavors. So the one I entered was the all dressed, because that was my favorite, and the thing I try to do with my product, that really kind of like everyone just loves it, is it's like when you get that bag of chips that's got every single chip is like super coated, that chip that you search in the bag for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's this product. It's the whole, every piece is like coated. There's not a piece that have some flavor to it.
Good.
Yeah,
it was so good. We had a Karma Cup judging party. I have one every year after I get the cup kit, and we had a Karma Cup judging party, and we took your product, and I had put it in a bowl, and I put it on the coffee table, and for a snack while we were all sort of sitting around judging. And one of the people that I had over, one of my girlfriends, she was driving home later, and she's like sitting there, and I looked up and I watched her, and I had realized that her hand was going back in the bowl for like the 4th or the 5th time, and she's just like munching away, and I looked at her and I went, now those are infused, eh? She stopped dead. She went, no way.
Uh-oh.
well, because you can't taste it. You cannot taste the cannabis in it. And I use RSO. I use straight RSO extract. And
there was no flavor.
Nope.
There was no cannabis flavor at all.
Nothing green, eh? Way to go.
Yeah, it's deceiving. And that's why you can't stop eating it. Because you can't taste it. And before
really
you know it, the whole bag's gone.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised. Oh, very dangerous, Al. Very dangerous. I'm really glad there was a whole bunch of people here helping me with that bowl, because I wouldn't have gotten any other judging done that night for sure. For sure, if it was all mine, I wouldn't have been able to judge anything else. Excellent product.
When I first created that product, we actually took it all the way to Winnipeg 3.5 years ago. And we had people over to our Airbnb the first night, and we put a huge bowl of it on the table and just watched what happened.
Gone.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Oh, yes. It was an epic night, believe me. Everyone was super high.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, ladies, I see it's almost 5 after the hour. Time for us to take a break. Commercial break, that is. Alrighty?
Okay.
All right, pay some more bills.
That's right. Okie we'll be right back. We'll continue this conversation with Tarra Simpson of Momma Teas Edibles in about 4 minutes. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio, is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. Their values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, welcome back and thanks for tuning in to the Pace Radio Show. We are being broadcasted live here at paceradio.net. Tonight on the program we're joined by our guest, Tarra Simpson from Momma Medibles, and my joint host, Northern Ontario, Kim Cooper, is here as well. Well, ladies, we've been traveling, Momma we've been talking about... Tarra has been through when it comes to prescription drugs and dealing with that and getting into some different products that you've been doing when it comes to edibles and being involved in the, coming in 6th place in your recent Cup Challenge. And I know, Tarra, before or early on in the broadcast, you mentioned dealing with, you deal with fibro yourself, right?
I do. I've had fibromyalgia since 2004 is when it started. But it was a 7-year diagnosis process. So I've had fibromyalgia a long time. And so for me, managing with pharmaceuticals didn't work. I've tried literally every over-the-counter rub and pain management cream on the market, and I can tell you none of them work the way cannabis topicals and soaks work. I can't say enough good things about those things. I've tried literally every A5, 3,5, Zostrix, everything. None of it works. It doesn't do what it's supposed to, and it's probably because our bodies are not designed to absorb those chemicals into our receptors, whereas our bodies have these cannabinoid receptors, right? So I think that's maybe the missing link for us fibro patients. We don't have, pharmaceutical receptors. Cannabis seems to work far better for fibromyalgia patients than anything they've been prescribed. So interesting, a little bit of research. Hopefully someone listening and doing that research as we speak. And edible.
Yeah, because I do get asked, by people with fibro, and I don't have that, but it's always good to hear what people use in order to treat those conditions. And like I know myself, when when I get a chance to get into the hot tub, I know I enjoy a hot tub and like bath bombs.
Oh, hot tub for sure.
Bath bombs and hot tubs, Kim?
Oh, for sure. That's my favorite.
Have a hot tub? Oh, what I wouldn't give. Let me tell you. A hot tub would be like phenomenal. And a sauna. I used to go to the gym a lot.
Right.
Back when I could do more physical activity than I do now. And that was the one thing that really, really helped, was sitting in the hot tub and sitting in the sauna. I used my gym membership. I did my cardio and stuff. I did work out, but I went there because I knew afterwards my pain was going to be 10 times worse. So I would use it kind of as a reward system for being physically active and pushing myself, and to treat my pain at the same time. And on days where I couldn't work out because I was in too much pain, I would still go and have that hot tub and that sauna, and then go for a tan afterwards, of course. I don't do that anymore. It's really bad for your skin. Tanning beds are bad.
I know that earlier the two of you mentioned about crystals, so you could put in as much as you wanted to. When it comes so when it comes to a hot tub, you can put you could put the whole container in, but you can use those style of beads or whatever you call them in a regular hot tub.
They're just crystals. They dissolve. Yeah, they dissolve. It's like infused like almost an Epsom salt. Sure, yeah. Yeah, I have patients that use this in a hot tub. Yeah. Okay,
I know I used it I used to have a whirlpool tub in my last place. And I used that no problem, but I didn't know about a hot tub. I don't know enough about them, but if Epsom salts are safe, then that shouldn't have a problem.
I have friends of mine. When I had the bombs prior, I used to get the bath bombs, and I had a guy that would I ordered in the 100 milligrams just for him, because the rest of mine were all 25s, and I got him the 100 milligrams, and that's what he used them in, is his hot tub.
Right. Okay.
All right. Good. Good to know. Good to know. So when it comes to dosing and stuff like that in that kind of way, I know we were talking about it off break. How does somebody deal with that? Is that just sort of something they do, like self titrate?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you got to decide.
I mean, when I started my cannabis journey, I was literally taking 2 puffs off a one hitter, and that was enough. Now I'm a much heavier cannabis user. But again, it was figuring out like where my tolerance was, right? 2 puffs. And I was like, whoa, wow. Now I'm not greening myself out on 2 puffs, right? So there was definitely
don't you long for those days?
I know, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can't remember those first joints. I can remember my first dab. First dabs. That was like, holy smokes. Really?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, dabs. I remember doing my first couple of dabs and being like mind blown. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
And being like, and now, I mean, dabs, because your system gets used to processing the cannabis the way it's supposed to. And I don't, like, for me, the amount of cannabis that I smoke, people are like, oh my God, if I smoked that, I'd be so high all day. And I'm like, but I'm not high. But I'm not high.
Yeah.
I wish I was high.
I know.
I remember
don't you long for those days? You know, to catch a buzz now. I mean, if I'm partying and I want to catch a buzz, I got to make a fucking concerted effort here, right? We're okay. Let's get down to business.
Right. Exactly.
Let's throw a little bit of kiff in here and a little bit of hash.
Yeah. And I don't care what anyone says. I mean, you couldn't drink like that every day and do the same thing.
No.
You would still end up, you know what I mean? Like, your body can't process alcohol the way it processes cannabis. And for people who have pain issues, we process it way differently than people who don't have, say, as high of a pain issue. Or, you know what I mean? I think our bodies really they learn to metabolize it differently than those, first-time users.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dabs for me, when I found dabs, it was like, it was like the gates of heaven opened up and all the angels started singing. It was like, the whole experience. And it was just like, oh, what is this? And I fell in love immediately. And anybody that knows me knows I dab almost exclusively now. You'll rarely find me rolling a joint unless we have like company over or something. Then I get back into my dubs. But I'm sitting here basically on my own most of the time. It's me and my dab rig, man, 24/7, right? I mean, I'm up to over a quarter ounce of dabs a month.
Wow,
and people go, you smoke what? You smoke what? It's like, well, yeah.
Good for you. I probably smoke a pound of flour myself a month. So probably about the equivalent when you bust it down to an extract, right? Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I know other people that have a gram, and it's like, oh, I've had this gram for like 2 months, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
As you
Well,
say that,
yeah.
I'm looking at the gram of dabs in my container that I've had for a month.
But yeah, your tolerance goes up exponentially, especially when you're using this as a medicine. People have to bear that in mind as well. For you and for myself, we're coming off some pretty heavy pharmaceuticals that this medicine, this natural medicine, is now replacing. So, quarter ounce of dabs a month may sound like a lot to somebody, but when you take in account that it's replacing 16 pills a day and 150 milligram patches of fentanyl, then it kind of brings it into perspective.
Exactly. For me, 29 medications, and I was on everything from 2 forms of morphine. I was on slow release and instant release. I was allowed 360 tablets of instant release morphine a month.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah, like that's insanity. That's insanity. And what's it doing to your body and everything else? And I mean, that's just insanity. So when you look at that and you say you smoke a pound a month, and somebody goes, "Whoa, you smoke a pound? Holy shit! How do you function?" It's like, well, how did I function on 26 pills a day?
Right. I was literally falling asleep at work, standing up.
Zombie.
I was so zombied, and I was driving like that. Are you kidding me? Someone should not have been letting me drive like that. You know what I mean? Cannabis doesn't do that to me. Cannabis doesn't make me fall asleep standing up. Cannabis doesn't make me fall asleep sitting in a chair at work. Like, those medications did, though. I was zombified.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And doctors didn't see a problem with this.
No, and they never do. They'll if you present them with a problem, they'll find another drug, another prescription drug to write you a prescription for to fix that problem. So you'll be on 29 instead. It's been a phenomenal journey for you, that's for sure. No end in sight, I would imagine, with your passion and your drive for your not only yourself but for all of the others that you help. I guess my next quick question to you would be, what's next, Tarra? What do you got? What do you got going on? Have you got new products in the mix? What do you see for the future?
So I do have an extensive project binder of things that I see an idea and I want to make it. It's finding time. My main line keeps me extremely busy. I have a lot of patients that rely on their medicine every month, so that keeps me pretty busy. But I do have a lot of products in my secondary line that I started this over COVID, which is our Trippy Hippies line. So I think there'll be some expansions and some revamp in that area for our patients, because that's becoming kind of the new wave of medicine, right? Another plant medicine. So I'll probably do a lot of work with that. That's going to be kind of my research and development focus. And in the meantime, just keep doing what I'm doing, and keep going out to events and trying to reach more patients and advocating wherever I go. It's all I do. I walk my streets every day with my dogs, and I've always got a joint in my hand. But I'm that friendly stoner girl that walks by with the dogs, right? But people stop and talk to me. It's actually, I've brought out so many cannabis people in my area that I didn't know were cannabis friendly, right? So again, it's about advocacy and ending stigma, and just keep doing what I do best.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm glad you brought up Trippy Hippies. I want to give a plug for Trippy Hippies and a selfish plug for OYE, Open Your Eye, another show here on the Pace Radio Network. You with your product line through Trippy Hippies, I do have the pleasure of having one of your products here. I haven't tried it yet. I am going to be this weekend. And I would like to live on the air send you and extend you an invite to be on a future show of Open Your Eye, where we can bring the conversation focus into psychedelics.
Definitely, because that, again, ties into what we talked about tonight with withdrawing from medications, and part of that journey involved some of that for me. So that's something we can maybe touch on in that segment.
Absolutely looking forward to it for sure. I see we're almost at the bottom of the hour. I guess we should go to a shout out unless you have questions, Al.
Sure. Let's go to the shout out. I'm just updating the notice here on Facebook to let everybody know what we're discussing, and I just included Trippy Hippie in there. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Tarra back on again. I mean, and it's funny that Tarra was so nervous about coming on the show tonight. I think we talked about it prior to the show. This is her first real interview that she's done. She's never done anything like this before. And she was absolutely fantastic. And look at that. We're not even at the end of the show. We're already making arrangements to have her on another one.
There you go, eh?
Yeah. I know. Cindy has been asking as well. So I guess Kathy and I will have to set that up and come and do our Trippy Hippies chat on Open Your Eye.
Absolutely. Kathy's got to be part of this. Before we go, before I give you to the shout out, I want to touch on our weekend, because you brought up Kathy. The weekend that we spent together was for Karma Cup. It's my yearly annual Karma Cup vacation. And Tarra and Kathy joined us in the Karma House this year. What an epic weekend we had. I could talk all night again about Saturday night and our infused dinner, but we've covered that pretty extensively already. And I want to talk a little bit about the comedy show. On the Sunday, we wound up with a private show. In essence, we had Puff Mama's comedy club wound up relocating from the park because of inclement weather, and we offered up the Airbnb. And we had Puff Mama and her comedy club come and perform for us at the Airbnb. It was an absolutely fantastic night. Sarah Sunday attended as well, the creator and inventor of the Karma Cup, and a couple of the other judges and contestants in the edibles category were there. Ashley Kalia from Sofa King Bakery was in attendance, along with several others. And it was great. I think the highlight of that night was Kathy sitting in the big Easy Boy chair in the front row, right in front of the comedian, falling
yes.
asleep.
Oh no! Oh
She had
no!
eaten so many of Sofa King's edibles.
Yeah. Yeah, she was eating Sofa King edibles, sitting there eating the edibles all night. And then she's like passing out in the chair while the comedian's on. Man, did he nail her. Oh, that was epic.
Oh.
Yes, that was quite funny. She was, yeah.
Oh, that was epic. Oh, yeah. She was awake after that, man.
Did anybody get a recording of it so she could see what happened while she was sleeping?
I did. And it is actually, it's going to be uploaded to YouTube and shared on social media later on tonight.
Oh.
Fantastic. Hear that, Pat? I hope you're listening. It
was quite the night. It was quite the weekend. We had just a fantastic time, and I am so glad that you decided to join us, and we got to expand not only our friendship but our working relationship and our circle in this great cannabis community of ours.
Oh, I'm thrilled I did too. I so needed that weekend, and for us all really not knowing each other, it went absolutely fantastic. We had such an amazing time with everybody, and friendships were built for sure. 100%. Next year, we're hopefully back at the same place, and hopefully there'll be a festival so we can all go have some fun instead of all this lockdown nonsense.
More fun. You could have.
But we made the best of it. We had
you
a good time.
You guys obviously had fun and a good time this year, and
we did.
hopefully next year you can even have more fun. Yeah.
We tie-dye t-shirts. We went to an infused dinner and got like totally fucked up. We had a private comedy club in our house. We went shopping at a flea market and broke all the rules there. We had an epic.
That's another story, eh?
Oh yeah, we did. We broke all the rules.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. For sure. Looking forward to next year again.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, shout out. Shout out time. Time for shout out Tarra, their person, place, a thing, a website. If you want to plug where how people get a hold of you.
Okay, so if people are interested, they can go to Instagram. It's Momma Teas. So it's MOMMA. TS Medibles Official 1.0. That's pretty much the easiest way to get a hold of me. If anyone's interested, or at our Momma Teas Medibles info at gmail.com.
Okay, that's the email address. Good stuff.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, and definitely reach out to Tarra. Wonderful products, helping patients, reasonable prices, and quality products for sure. Yeah, definitely. Patients are my primary focus. That's where it's always been for me, and it's where it's going to be for me. Patients need access to affordable medicine. It shouldn't have to be a bank account. It shouldn't have to be a choice between pain relief or food. I even have donated to many outreach programs as well. Back when Hope Project was going, if I get to patients, I did. And that's always going to be a thing for me. So sorry, OCS, but your prices suck. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's just fantastic for sure.
Okay, Kim. Shout out.
Shout out for me. I'm going to give a shout out to my guests from last night's Open Your Eye show. We had a really, really interesting and informative show last night on Open Your Eye with the lawyers in the house. Mr. Paul Lewin, It was in the House along with Jack Lloyd and Henry Stevens from the Cannabis and Psychedelic Law Group, along with Allison Mearden, Section 56 exemptee, who is now got the paperwork in through the Cannabis and Psychedelic Law Group for a Section 56 to expand her access to psilocybin therapy. So we'll be keeping a close eye on Allison's application, along with some court cases that are in effect right now to advance psychedelic therapy as a medicine here in Canada. So lots of exciting things happening on that space as well.
Yeah, it was. That was when I was watching it there today. That's what's the nice thing about if you can't catch it live, you can always catch it afterwards. When they were talking about the fact that they had just submitted it yesterday as well, and then bang, they're out there, and they said that was the first interview. First interview, yes.
Yeah, exciting stuff for sure. So looking forward to keeping track of what goes on with Allison's application.
Yeah, I agree. Okie dokie. Other than that, it's big. You can find the Pace Radio Network on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. Thank you to our sponsors, BMA Hydroponics, Legacy420.com, drbuckcts.com, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop in downtown Campbellford. Also, Tarra, thank you very much for coming on to the show and talking to Kim and I, as well as to our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me. I was very nervous, but I'm glad I did it. This was fantastic. Thanks for having me, guys.
You're very welcome.
Yes, very welcome. We're glad that you enjoyed yourself, and we broke that ice. Next thing you know, you'll be talking to people all around the world wanting to do that.
I believe it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and as always, Kim, thank you for everything you do.
Oh, my pleasure, Al.
And to our listeners, thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You know I blame it on industry.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Do you want to hear what patients and cannabis advocates have to say? If so, then catch the Pace Radio Show Wednesday nights here on paceradio.net.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.